changing the culture, the things you've been preaching, for that to pay off? Is there some validation in the things that you've been trying to preach?
Yeah, like I said, more than anything, is not quitting, you know, and that's what I'm proud of this football team, especially with a young football team. They could have easily thought that they wasn't good enough, or that they could have easily quit, you know, and lost hope, but they didn't, you know, after one of the toughest schedule in our school history, and those losses kept coming, you know, and those guys stayed together. Kept fighting every single game, and it was great to get that win because it showed them that you keep coming, you'll reap the benefits from it. And I remember on Monday, my 8-year-old spoke to our football team, and I just remember the last quote he told them, that winners never quit, you know. And look at Saturday, you know, those guys didn't quit, and they didn't quit, and go out there Saturday and win a ball game, you know. And that comes from Bill Ham's book. It's a little book that I read to little Will when he was 4 years old, and he remembered that, you know, and he said that to the team, and it was touching, and it was good because he was right.
Has this job been a bigger challenge than, I mean, in terms of rebuilding and changing the culture, has it been a bigger challenge than maybe you anticipated when you took the position?
No, it hasn't. I knew it was going to be tough. I said from day one it was going to be tough, but I knew it can be done. You know, when you go through, like, I don't care what program it is, but when you go through some of those losses, it's going to be tough. I mean, anything, you're dealing with teenagers, you know, and guys, those guys want to win. They don't think like most mature adults. And so the biggest thing was just, like I say, changing the culture and staying positive. I mean, our guys have been beaten down for so long, and it was no good to, it wouldn't do us any good to get down and be frustrated. And that wasn't going to help us. You know, we've been there before. So my thing was just staying positive and staying the course and just working. Just work. Because I do know if you continue to work and you outwork people, that you're going to reap the benefits. That success is going to be around the corner. They said, more importantly, I was just happy that they didn't quit. Those guys kept working. They kept believing in what I was telling them, you know, and then it paid off on Saturday.
Last week you talked about the team not quitting because they knew that they could do it. Now moving ahead, now that they've actually done it, how big is the fact that they now have evidence, proof that they can do it moving forward, that they can certainly go out and do it again?
I think that's big, and I think our guys knew before that we could do it. They said we've been close in a lot of ball games. This is just a matter of getting it done, you know, and not go back and keep your foot on their throat when you have them down. And our guys did that on Saturday. You know, I know they know how that feeling was after the Saturday game, and they know how those feeling was in those 26 ball games too. And if you had to pick, I'm sure they'll pick Saturday night on how they want to feel after these ball games. So we're not going to change the way we go to work. We'll get back to work like we have been, and just keep coming, you know, because we still have goals out there, and we want to win ball games. We want to win every ball game, especially here at home, you know, and that's another goal for us. And then we got a team coming here this week that we hadn't beaten, you know, so I think that's a little extra motivation too for our guys.
You guys have been the wounded dog in the game for so long. This week, you're going against a team that can outdo you in that category. They just lost their head coach, obviously, and they're going through a really rough patch. They're probably obviously fired up for other reasons. And you know, how much do you caution against letting down at all, and you know, anything like that? And how big of a test is it for them to handle continuing to go through a week after a win and moving forward against a team that's going to want to win more than maybe it has all season?
Well, I don't think it's that big of a test because we've been there. You know what those guys are feeling like, and say we got a football team that learned from their mistakes. You know, again, I don't think North Texas is going to come in here and being afraid of WKU. We hadn't beaten them yet. You know, and look at our record; they're the same. You know, so I don't think those guys are going to come in all these. You know, we're afraid of WKU, and I don't think our guys going in saying we're just going to walk over North Texas because we haven't done that yet. You know, all we've done is won one ball game. You know, and it's not good enough. We got to win more. So got to get back to work, and hopefully our guys realized that last week was Lafayette homecoming, and saw the way they felt after that ball game, and want to make sure that we don't do that to our fans here. You know, once we come back here, it's homecoming, and we'll have a lot of alums back, and we need to put on a show for them. Our fans deserve it. We did a great job last week, and now it's time to come home and do it for our fans.
How familiar are you with the last couple of games against North Texas? A couple wacky finish 2 years ago. Last year was just a shootout.
Yeah, I remember those last 2 years being really close, and I want to say we were up in the ball game and let them come back and beat us. And then last year was like an arena football game, and with all those points being scored. And so it's been a close ball game throughout those 3 years. And you say one of those guys, you're only good as your last game against someone. And our last game against North Texas, we lost. So we got a lot of work to do. I mean, that should be motivation by itself with our guys. They got to come out here and work. These guys beat us. I mean, they beat us for 3 years now. And yeah, we got to win this ball game.
How good practice was last week in terms of teaching your guys about moving on from the tough loss? How much can you guys learn from last week and apply it to this week in terms of moving on from there?
Again, go back to just going back to work, and controlling the things that you can control. We couldn't control after that Monroe game. We couldn't control everything that happened. It was done. It was over with. But we could control where we go from there. And that was the hard part early in the week, because that was a very emotional football game for us. But our guys regrouped and got back together towards the middle of the week, and we had a great practice on Wednesday and Thursday. And more importantly, I think for our guys, is understanding now when we have great practices, we go out there and play a pretty darn good football game. So if anything, we need to learn from all of it is just practicing hard, practice like you play. If you do that, game day is easy. If you practice well, you practice like you do on game day. It's just going out and have fun now.
I'm interested, when you saw film yesterday, was there any one or two things in particular that you saw that you said, you know what, we won by 33, but that's something I want to make sure we take care of this week? Oh,
it was a lot. Yeah, we won by 33, but it was a lot of mistakes still. There's still a lot of mistakes out there from a lot of different people, but we were able to overcome some of them. Some of it just by athletic ability, but that was a lot. In a lot of ball games, in every ball game, you have those mistakes and you see things that you want to correct, and we got to do that because North Texas see those things too that we made mistakes on, and I'm sure they're going to try to exploit that. So we got to get back in there and find out what those things are and correct them so that we'll go back to not making that same mistake twice.
How pleased were you with